A new dawn. In a quiet suburban neighborhood where the sound of lawnmowers mingled with the chirping of birds, a sense of normalcy hung in the air. Yet, for Wayne, an ordinary human with an extraordinary imagination, today was anything but normal. He had just heard the telltale roar of a truck approaching, a sound that would mark the beginning of an adventure he could never have anticipated. As Wayne tended to his beloved garden, the sunlight warmed his back, and the scent of fresh tomatoes filled the air. He was lost in his thoughts when the truck rolled to a stop nearby, its engine purring down to silence. Curious, Wayne glanced up, wiping the sweat from his brow. What he saw next made his heart race. A figure emerged from the truck that would forever change his life. She was stunning, a bluish-skinned woman, unlike anyone he had ever seen. Her presence was mesmerizing. The way she moved seemed to defy the very laws of gravity. She wore denim shorts that hugged her curves and a tight white t-shirt that accentuated her figure. Her hair cascaded like a waterfall, shimmering with hints of silver in the sunlight. For a moment, Wayne felt as if he were witnessing a living dream. "Hey, neighbor. I'm sorry, I just moved in." Her voice was melodic, pulling Wayne from his reverie. The electric current of their gaze held him captive, and he struggled to respond, a blush creeping up his cheeks. "Oh, hi, I'm Wayne. Welcome to the neighborhood." His voice was shaky, betraying his usual confidence. Saria smiled, revealing a perfect set of pearly white teeth. "Thanks. Mind lending a hand with my stuff? I promise I don't bite, unless you're into that sort of thing." She winked playfully, leaving Wayne speechless. The warmth of her smile made his heart race, and before he knew it, he was agreeing to help her. They spent the next hour unloading boxes from the truck, and with each moment, Wayne found himself stealing glances at Saria. She was captivating, her laughter ringing like music in the air, and her playful teasing made him feel both exhilarated and utterly flustered. "Careful there, Tiger," she teased as he almost dropped a fragile box. "These are delicate artifacts from my homeworld. Wouldn't want them getting smashed because you were too busy checking me out." Wayne's face turned a deep shade of crimson. I didn't mean to." Saria laughed, a sound that danced through the air like chimes in a gentle breeze. "Relax, I'm just messing with you. It's cute when you blush." Despite his embarrassment, Wayne couldn't help but feel a strange thrill at her words. He managed to gather his thoughts enough to ask, "So, where exactly are you from?" "Oh, a little planet called Zappia. You've probably never heard of it." Saria shrugged casually. "It's about 50 light years from here. Nice place, but the commute was killer." Wayne nearly choked on his own laughter. "You're joking, right?" She raised an eyebrow, her expression serious. "About the commute? No, that part is true. Stasis pods are not comfortable, let me tell you." "No, 50 light years. That's incredible." Saria shrugged again, her nonchalance only heightening Wayne's intrigue. "It's not that big a deal. Lots of aliens coming to Earth these days. I hear you humans have been making all sorts of interesting contracts with off-worlders." Wayne's smile faded slightly. "Yeah, I've heard about those contracts. Not really my thing, to be honest." Saria studied him intently. "And why's that?" Wayne shifted uncomfortably, the weight of her gaze making him feel exposed. "Just seems risky, you know. All that power can change people, not always for the better." She nodded slowly, a flicker of understanding in her eyes. "You're not wrong. Change isn't always bad, Wayne. Sometimes it's exactly what we need." Before he could ponder her words, Saria clapped her hands together, her expression shifting to one of cheerful urgency. "Well, that's the last of it. Thanks for your help, neighbor. I owe you one." "Don't mention it," Wayne replied, surprised to find himself a bit disappointed that their time together was ending. "If you need anything else, just let me know." Saria's lips curled into a mischievous smile. "Careful what you offer, Wayne. I might just take you up on that." With a playful wink, she sauntered into her new home, leaving Wayne standing in the driveway, his head spinning with thoughts of her. Over the next few days, Wayne found himself inventing increasingly flimsy excuses to visit Saria. He offered to mow her lawn, only to realize she didn't have one. He asked to borrow a cup of sugar, even though he didn't bake. He pretended his shower was broken, even though it wasn't. Each encounter left him more flustered than the last, Saria delighting in finding new ways to tease him. "You know, Wayne," she purred one afternoon, her tone playful as he fumbled with a wrench while ostensibly fixing her sink. "If you wanted to see me so badly, you could have just asked me out." Wayne nearly banged his head on the pipes. "What? No, I mean that's not." Saria laughed again, her eyes sparkling with mischief. "Oh, come on, we both know you're not really here to fix my sink," which, by the way, wasn't actually broken. Emerging from under the sink, Wayne's face burned with embarrassment. "I'm sorry, I didn't mean to." "Don't apologize." Saria waved her hand dismissively. "I think it's sweet and flattering. Tell you what, why don't you come over for dinner tonight? We can drop this silly pretense and actually talk." Wayne's heart raced at the invitation. Every instinct told him to say no, to run away before he got in too deep. But as he looked into Saria's mesmerizing eyes, he found himself nodding. "Great. 8 o'clock, don't be late," Saria called, her voice laced with playful authority as she returned to her work. As Wayne walked home, a sense of excitement and dread coursed through him. He couldn't shake the feeling that he was stepping into something far beyond his control. The day crawled by in agonizing slowness, each minute dragging out as he anticipated the evening ahead. He changed his outfit 3 times, finally settling on a casual button-down and jeans, though he changed again at the last minute. By the time 8 o'clock rolled around, he was a bundle of nerves, knocking on Saria's door with a bottle of wine clutched in his sweaty palm. When she opened the door, Wayne's breath caught in his throat. Saria stood before him in a slinky black dress that left little to the imagination, her blue skin shimmering in the soft light. "Right on time," she purred, her voice sultry. "I like a punctual man." Wayne swallowed hard, managing to stammer, "I brought wine." He thrust the bottle toward her, his heart pounding in his chest. "How thoughtful," Saria replied, taking the bottle, her fingers brushing against his and sending electric chills down his spine. "Come on in. Dinner's almost ready." As he stepped inside, Wayne marveled at the blend of earth decor and alien artifacts that adorned her home. Strange, glowing crystals sat alongside potted plants, and a painting of a double-mooned alien landscape hung next to a poster of a popular human rock band. "Make yourself comfortable," Saria called from the kitchen. "I'll be right out." Wayne sank into a plush armchair, his eyes wandering over the eclectic decor. A peculiar device on the coffee table caught his attention. It resembled a lamp crossed with a futuristic computer. "Careful with that," Saria warned as she emerged from the kitchen, holding 2 glasses of wine. "It's a quantum entanglement communicator, very delicate and very illegal on this planet." "Illegal?" Wayne jerked his hand back, wide-eyed. "Should you be telling me that?" Saria shrugged, handing him a glass with a playful smile. "Probably not. But I have a feeling you can keep a secret. Besides, what are you going to do? Report me to the alien police?" Wayne chuckled despite himself, feeling the tension ease. "Fair point. So what's for dinner?" "Nothing too exotic, I promise," Saria replied, her eyes glinting mischievously. "I've been experimenting with Earth cuisine. Tonight, we're having lasagna." Wayne raised an eyebrow. "You made lasagna? Don't look so surprised." Saria laughed. "I'll have you know I'm an excellent cook. It's all chemistry, really, and I happen to be very good at chemistry." There was a glint in her eye that made Wayne wonder if she was still talking about cooking. As they ate, Wayne found himself relaxing, the lasagna delicious and the conversation flowing easily. Saria regaled him with tales of her home world, describing fantastical creatures and breathtaking vistas that made Wayne's heart race with the thrill of exploration. "So what brought you to Earth?" Wayne asked, refilling their wine glasses, curiosity piqued. Curiosity mostly, and opportunity, Saria said, her tone shifting to something more serious. Your world is at a crucial juncture, Wayne. The contracts between humans and aliens, they're changing everything. Wayne frowned. Not always for the better, from what I've seen. Perhaps, Saria conceded, her eyes locked onto his with an intensity that made him uneasy. But that depends on the individuals involved. Great power can corrupt, yes, but it can also elevate. It all comes down to choices. Is that why you're here? To make contracts? Wayne asked cautiously. Saria smiled enigmatically. Among other reasons. Tell me, Wayne, have you ever considered it? Making a contract? Wayne shook his head firmly. No, never. It's too risky. Is it? Saria leaned forward, her eyes piercing into his. Or are you just afraid of change? Of becoming something more than what you are? I'm happy with who I am, he replied, his voice steady despite the flutter in his stomach. Are you? Saria's voice softened, almost hypnotic. Don't you ever wonder what you could achieve with just a little boost? Strength beyond imagining, intelligence to rival the greatest minds in history, charisma that could charm anyone anywhere. As she spoke, Wayne felt himself leaning closer, drawn in by her words and the intoxicating scent that seemed to envelop him. It sounds tempting, he admitted, but at what cost? Saria's smile widened, a hint of mischief playing at the corners of her mouth. Everything worthwhile has a price, Wayne. The question is whether you're willing to pay it. She stood suddenly, extending her hand toward him. Come with me. There's something I want to show you. Against his better judgment, Wayne took her hand and followed her to a room he hadn't noticed before. The door slid open silently, revealing a space that looked nothing like the rest of the house. Glowing symbols covered the walls, pulsing with an otherworldly energy. In the center of the room stood a pedestal upon which rested a shimmering translucent orb. What is this place? Wayne whispered, a mix of trepidation and curiosity coursing through him. This, Saria said, her voice resonating with power, is where contracts are made. She turned to face him, her eyes glowing with an inner light. You never answered my question earlier, Wayne. Have you ever thought about changing your life? Wayne's heart raced in his chest. He knew he should leave, should run far away from this alien temptress and her dangerous offer. But as he looked into Saria's mesmerizing eyes, he found himself unable to move. I don't know, he stammered. Saria stepped closer, her body mere inches from his. Don't you want to find out what you're truly capable of, Wayne? Don't you want to be extraordinary? Her scent overwhelmed him, clouding his thoughts. He felt dizzy, intoxicated by her presence and the pulsing energy of the room. He began, but the words died in his throat as Saria leaned in, her lips brushing against his ear. Say yes, Wayne, she whispered. Say yes, and I'll show you wonders beyond your wildest dreams. In that moment, teetering on the precipice of a decision that would change his life forever, Wayne knew he was in way over his head. But as Saria's lips met his in a searing kiss, he found he no longer cared. The contract was sealed, and there was no going back. The binding contract. Wayne's senses ignited as he surrendered to the kiss, the world around him fading into a blur of color and sensation. Saria's lips were warm and electric, sending jolts of energy through his body, wrapping him in a cocoon of desire and intrigue. It felt as if the air around them shimmered with a newfound power, pulsating in time with the quickening beat of his heart. When they finally pulled apart, Wayne's breath came in shallow gasps. The room seemed to hum with an intensity he had never felt before. Saria's eyes sparkled with an otherworldly glow, reflecting the ethereal light of the orb behind her. Do you feel it, Wayne? She whispered, her voice a sultry caress that sent shivers down his spine. The contract is forming. Our fates are entwined now. He stared at her, a mixture of awe and uncertainty swirling within him. What does that mean? He managed to ask, his voice barely above a whisper. Saria smiled, stepping closer, her presence intoxicating. It means you and I are becoming one in more ways than you can imagine. To finalize the contract, we must complete the union, body, mind, and soul. Wayne felt a wave of trepidation wash over him. He had always been a practical man, grounded in reality. Yet, standing before this alien goddess, his mind raced with possibilities. The power she spoke of, was it truly within reach? He swallowed hard, grappling with the decision that lay before him. Saria sensed his hesitation and gently caressed his cheek, her touch igniting a fire within him. "You must trust me," she urged, guiding him toward the pedestal where the orb pulsed with energy. "This is a sacred process. It's more than just a contract, it's a transformation." As she spoke, Wayne felt the air crackle around them, charged with an energy that made his skin tingle. The glowing symbols on the walls pulsed in rhythm with his racing heart, drawing him closer to the orb. Despite the doubts swirling in his mind, an undeniable thrill surged through him. "Trust," he echoed, testing the word on his lips. It felt foreign and yet tantalizing. He looked into Saria's eyes, searching for assurance, and found an unwavering determination mirrored in her gaze. "Let go of your fear, Wayne. Embrace what lies ahead," Saria urged, her voice soothing yet compelling. "With each moment, the contract strengthens. You'll discover powers beyond your wildest dreams." With a deep breath, Wayne took a leap of faith, his instincts urging him to embrace the unknown. "Okay," he said, his voice steadying. "I'm ready." Saria beamed at him, a radiant smile that lit up the room. "Good. This is where the magic happens." She began to undress, each movement fluid and deliberate, revealing the luminous azure skin beneath her clothing. Wayne's heart raced, entranced by her beauty, feeling the weight of the moment bearing down upon him. The air thickened with anticipation as Saria stepped closer, guiding his hands to her bare skin. The moment his fingers made contact, a jolt of energy surged through him. It was unlike anything he had ever experienced, raw, primal, and electric. He could feel the power of the contract stirring between them, invisible threads binding them together in an intricate dance of fate. "Now it's time to share our essences," Saria murmured, her breath warm against his ear. She led him toward the orb, their bodies moving in sync as if choreographed by an unseen force. Together, they knelt before the pedestal, the energy surrounding them intensifying, filling the room with an ethereal glow. As they joined, the universe shifted. Wayne felt his consciousness expanding, merging with Saria's in a way that defied explanation. Each heartbeat resonated with a profound connection, a melding of souls that transcended the physical. "This is the moment," Saria breathed, her voice barely audible amidst the swirling energy. As they moved together, Wayne's senses heightened, each touch igniting a fire deep within him. Their bodies intertwined, creating a rhythm that felt instinctual, primal, and liberating. "Together, we are unstoppable," Saria whispered, her eyes locked onto his, a fierce determination shining within. Wayne felt the intensity of her words resonate deep within his being, an affirmation of the bond they were forging. As they surrendered to the moment, the orb above them flared with a brilliant light, casting strange shadows across the room. The glowing symbols spiraled into a pattern that mirrored their union, the energy between them surging to a crescendo. It was as if the very fabric of reality was bending to their will. "Wayne," Saria's voice broke through the haze, filled with urgency and passion. "This is just the beginning. We are bound by this contract, and with it comes responsibility. We must wield our powers wisely." At the peak of their connection, the orb erupted with a blinding light, enveloping them in a cocoon of energy. The force of it filled Wayne with sensations he had never imagined: strength, intelligence, and a charismatic presence that felt almost intoxicating. And then, in an overwhelming surge, the contract was sealed. The light dimmed, the room returning to its normal state, yet the air buzzed with residual energy. Wayne collapsed beside Saria, his body trembling, his mind reeling from the experience. As he lay there, Wayne's eyes snapped open, sunlight streaming through unfamiliar curtains. For a moment, disorientation clouded his thoughts. He blinked, recalling the events of the previous night, the kiss, the contract, the energy that surged between them. He was in Saria's bed, and as he sat up, the reality of it all began to sink in. Saria entered the room, clad in one of Wayne's shirts, her blue skin practically glowing in the morning light. "Good morning, handsome," she purred, a playful smile dancing on her lips. Wayne felt his heart skip a beat. "Saria, what happened last night?" he asked, still trying to piece together the whirlwind of emotions and sensations he had experienced. "You made a choice, Wayne. A rather enthusiastic one, if I recall correctly," she teased, her voice playful yet charged with an undertone of seriousness. "The contract. It's real," he said, still grappling with the magnitude of what they had done. "Oh yes, quite thoroughly, I might add." Saria leaned closer, her fingers tracing along his jawline, igniting a fire within him. "How do you feel?" Wayne paused, taking stock of his body and mind. "Amazing," he admitted, astonished at the clarity and energy coursing through him. "I feel like I could run a marathon, solve complex equations, and charm the pants off anyone, all before breakfast." Saria's laughter tinkled like wind chimes. "That's the idea. Strength, intelligence, charisma. They're all yours now. But remember, Wayne, every gift has its price." Her tone shifted, the playful glint in her eye giving way to something more serious. "The power you've been given, it's not just a tool. It's alive in a way. It will try to shape you, to push you towards certain actions. You must be vigilant." Wayne frowned, the weight of her words settling heavily on his shoulders. "What do you mean?" "There's a dark side to these gifts," Saria warned, her voice steady. "It's seductive. You might find yourself using your charm to manipulate others, your intelligence to belittle those around you, or your strength to dominate. You must constantly choose how to wield your power." "I would never," Wayne protested, though a flicker of doubt crept into his mind. Had he already started down that path? Saria placed a finger on his lips, silencing him gently. "Never say never, darling. You'd be surprised at what you're capable of now." Her eyes glinted with an intensity that made him question what he thought he knew about himself. "Now, how about we test out some of those new abilities?" she suggested, her smile returning, lighting up the room with a sense of excitement. Over the next few weeks, Wayne embraced his new reality, the world around him bursting with possibilities. He threw himself into exploring his newfound powers, marveling at how easily he could accomplish tasks that once felt insurmountable. At work, he became a force to be reckoned with. His boss, Jennifer, noticed the change immediately. "I don't know what's gotten into you lately, Wayne," she said one afternoon, her eyebrows raised in surprise. "But keep it up. You're on fire." Wayne basked in the praise, the words fueling his confidence. "Oh, just had a bit of a breakthrough. Sometimes all it takes is a fresh perspective." As he turned to leave, a fleeting shadow crossed his reflection in the glass door. For a moment, he thought he saw a flicker of something dark in his own eyes. He blinked, and it was gone, but the sensation lingered. Outside the office, Wayne found himself effortlessly charming everyone he met. The barista who had never given him a second glance now blushed and stammered when he ordered his coffee. Even the grumpy old man who lived next door actually smiled and waved when Wayne passed by. But amidst the thrill of newfound powers, a nagging voice echoed in the back of his mind. Was he using this power for good, or had he already begun to walk the path of manipulation? One evening, as Wayne regaled Saria with tales of his latest exploits, he noticed her watching him with a mixture of pride and concern. "You're adapting well," she observed, her tone laced with something heavier. "Almost too well." "What do you mean?" Wayne asked, confusion creeping in. "I've seen this before, Wayne," Saria warned, her eyes narrowing slightly. "The initial rush, the feeling of invincibility. But remember what I told you about balance. Have you been keeping the darker impulses in check?" Wayne waved her off, dismissing her concern. "Of course. I'm using my abilities to help people, to excel at work. What's wrong with that? Nothing inherently, Saria replied cautiously. But be honest with yourself. Haven't you felt the temptation to push things a little further? Wayne shifted uncomfortably, recalling a moment from earlier that week when he had persuaded a colleague to botch an important presentation, ensuring Wayne got the promotion instead. It had been so easy, just a few well-placed words. I may have used my charm for personal gain once or twice, he admitted reluctantly, the weight of the truth settling in his gut. Saria nodded, her expression serious. It starts small, a little manipulation here, a bit of intimidation there, but it can spiral quickly if you're not careful. Wayne felt a flare of irritation rise within him. I can handle it, Saria. I'm not some weak-willed puppet. I never said you were, she replied calmly, her tone measured. But the powers you have now, they can change you. You need to stay grounded. He stared at her, the reality of her words settling in. What if I lose myself? He asked, the vulnerability in his voice surprising him. Saria reached out, a hand gently cupping his face. You won't, Wayne. You're stronger than that. Just remember, you have the power to choose who you become. Don't let the darkness define you. Her words resonated deep within him, a reminder of the choice he had made. As he looked into her eyes, he saw not just a beautiful alien, but a partner who believed in him, a connection that was growing deeper with every passing day. Together, Wayne said, the resolve in his voice firming up. We'll figure this out together. Saria's smile returned, warm and reassuring. That's the spirit. Now, let's go see just how far you can push your new limits. With a newfound determination, Wayne stepped into the unknown, ready to embrace the extraordinary life that awaited him, bound by a contract that promised both power and peril. The adventure was just beginning, and he was eager to explore the uncharted territories of his potential, even as the shadows lingered just out of sight. Unleashing potential. As the sun dipped below the horizon, painting the sky in shades of orange and purple, Wayne stood at the edge of his backyard, feeling a whirlwind of emotions. The events of the past few days had unfolded like a whirlwind, and he found himself grappling with the exhilarating and terrifying possibilities that lay before him. With Saria by his side, he was embarking on a journey that promised to stretch the boundaries of what he believed was possible. Saria appeared beside him, her luminous blue skin glowing softly in the fading light. Are you ready for our first training session? She asked, her eyes sparkling with excitement. Wayne turned to her, a mixture of eagerness and trepidation coursing through him. I think so, he replied, his voice steady, though his heart raced. What do you have in mind? First, we need to test your strength, Saria said, a playful grin spreading across her face. I want to see just how much you can lift now that you've joined the contract. Wayne chuckled nervously, his mind racing. Lift what? A car, a house. Not quite that ambitious, she laughed, gesturing toward a large boulder that had long been an eyesore in the garden. That one should do. He stared at the boulder, its rough surface and massive size daunting. You expect me to lift that? Why not? You're stronger than you think, she encouraged, her voice full of confidence. Just channel your energy. Remember the feeling from last night. That power is still within you. You just need to tap into it. Wayne took a deep breath, recalling the rush of energy that had coursed through him during their union. He felt it still lingering just beneath the surface, a warm glow that urged him forward. All right, he said, determination settling in. He stepped closer to the boulder, feeling its weight radiate against the earth. Wayne squared his shoulders, crouched down, and placed his hands underneath it. As he gripped the rough stone, he closed his eyes, focusing on the energy within him. He visualized the strength surging through his muscles, gathering like a storm ready to break. Lift, Saria urged, her voice a soft command. With a sudden rush, Wayne pushed upward, feeling the boulder shift against his hands. To his astonishment, the stone rose from the ground, weightless in his grip. I'm actually doing it, he exclaimed, disbelief lacing his words as he lifted the boulder higher, feeling the power thrumming through his limbs. Saria clapped her hands, a look of pride illuminating her features. Yes, now toss it. With a surge of adrenaline, Wayne hurled the boulder across the yard, watching in awe as it sailed through the air, landing several feet away with a resounding thud. He stood there, panting, staring at the displaced dirt and the boulder that now rested far from its original spot. "I can't believe I just did that," he breathed, still in shock. "Believe it, Wayne," Saria replied, her voice melodic with enthusiasm. "This is just the beginning. Now let's test your intelligence. I want to see how you can think on your feet." "Think on my feet?" Wayne raised an eyebrow, curious about what she had in mind. "Yes, let's play a game," Saria said, her eyes twinkling with mischief. "I'll present you with a challenge, and you have to solve it as quickly as possible. Think of it as a mental workout." Intrigued, Wayne nodded. "Okay, I'm in. What's the challenge?" Saria moved to a nearby table, picking up a strange device that looked like a mix between a puzzle and a computer. "This is a Zappian logic sphere. It's designed to test your cognitive abilities. Your goal is to solve the puzzle within 5 minutes. Are you ready?" Wayne swallowed hard, the device looking complex and intimidating. "I'll give it my best shot," he said, determination flaring within him. Saria activated the device, and it lit up with a series of colorful patterns and shifting shapes. "Remember to focus. Use the clarity of your mind to connect the pieces. I believe in you." The timer started, and Wayne leaned closer to the sphere, his heart racing as he examined the swirling patterns. He recalled the confidence that had surged through him when he lifted the boulder. He was strong, but was he also capable of solving this puzzle? He concentrated, letting his instincts guide him as he began to manipulate the sphere. As he worked, he could feel the energy from the contract flowing through him, enhancing his thoughts and sharpening his focus. He started to recognize the patterns, pieces clicking into place as he adjusted his strategy. 30 seconds left, Saria announced, her voice encouraging. "You've got this." With renewed determination, Wayne pushed aside the distractions, diving deeper into the puzzle. He worked faster, his hands moving deftly across the sphere's surface. The colors began to align, the shapes fitting together as if they had been made for him. Just as the timer reached its last second, he pressed a final piece into place. The sphere emitted a soft chime, and the colors settled into a harmonious pattern. Wayne leaned back, a rush of exhilaration washing over him. "I did it." Saria clapped her hands in delight, her laughter ringing like music in the air. "You did. You're amazing, Wayne. You've unlocked a new level of cognitive processing." He felt a swell of pride, the thrill of accomplishment energizing him. "This feels incredible. I can't believe how much I've changed." "Just wait," Saria said, her eyes sparkling. "There's more to come. Now, let's test your charisma." "Charisma? How do we do that?" Wayne asked, intrigued. Saria's expression turned mischievous again. "We're going to do a little role-playing. I want you to charm me as if we're strangers meeting for the first time. Make me want to get to know you." Wayne's heart raced at the challenge. He was no stranger to flirting, but this felt different. The stakes were higher now, and he wanted to impress her. "All right, I'll give it a shot," he said, his mind racing for the right approach. Saria stepped back, crossing her arms with a playful smile. "I'm ready when you are." Taking a deep breath, Wayne gathered his thoughts. He approached her with a relaxed demeanor, flashing a confident smile. "Well, hello there. I couldn't help but notice you from across the room. You have an aura that just draws me in." Saria's eyes widened, the hint of a smile playing on her lips. "Oh, is that so?" He continued, leaning in slightly, lowering his voice to add an air of mystery. "It's true. There's something captivating about you. I had to come over and find out more. What's your name?" She played along, tilting her head as if considering his words. "I'm Saria, and you are?" "Wayne. A pleasure to meet you," he said, extending his hand as if they were in a crowded bar. "Tell me, Saria, what brings you here tonight? Is it adventure you seek, or perhaps something more?" Saria feigned a thoughtful expression, her lips curving into a smirk. "Adventure, he say? And what makes you think I'm seeking that?" "Because anyone with your energy is bound to have a story worth hearing," Wayne replied, his voice smooth and confident. "I'm all ears if you're willing to share." As they continued their playful banter, Wayne felt a shift within himself. He was tapping into the charisma he never knew he had, confident and at ease. Each word felt powerful, each gesture deliberate, and for the first time, he understood the potential behind the contract's promise. "Impressive," Saria said after a few minutes, her expression both playful and contemplative. "You certainly have a way with words, Wayne. Perhaps you really are extraordinary." Feeling buoyed by her praise, Wayne couldn't help but smile. "Thanks. I've been working on it, but honestly, I couldn't have done it without you." Saria stepped closer, a teasing glint in her eyes. "Flattery will get you everywhere, you know. But I'm glad to see you embracing this transformation. It's just the beginning." "Then what's next?" Wayne asked, a thrill of anticipation bubbling within him. "Next, we take these skills into the world," Saria said, her voice firm with purpose. "It's time to show you how to harness your powers for greater challenges, challenges that can change lives." Wayne's pulse quickened at the thought. "Like what?" Saria's eyes sparkled with excitement. "There are opportunities out there, Wayne. With your strength, intelligence, and charisma, you can make an impact, help those in need, stand up against injustice. You have the potential to be a force for good." He absorbed her words, the gravity of her message resonating deep within him. "You're right, I want to make a difference." "Then let's start with the community," she suggested. "There's an upcoming festival downtown, and they could use volunteers. It's the perfect opportunity for you to showcase your abilities and connect with others." Wayne nodded, a sense of purpose igniting within him. "Let's do it. I'm ready." The next day, they arrived at the festival, a lively atmosphere buzzing with laughter, music, and the tantalizing aroma of food stalls lining the streets. Wayne felt the excitement thrumming through him as they stepped into the crowd, the colorful decorations and joyful faces igniting a sense of belonging. Saria guided him through the festival, introducing him to various booths and vendors. "This is where you can really shine," she encouraged. "Help out where you can and engage with the people. Use your newfound charisma to connect." Wayne took a deep breath, stepping forward as they approached a booth that needed assistance. A group of volunteers was struggling to set up a game for the children, laughter mingling with shouts of encouragement. "Need a hand?" Wayne called out, flashing a smile at the volunteers. "Absolutely," one of them replied, relief evident on her face. "We're trying to get this together before the crowds come in." Wayne jumped in, using his newfound strength to lift heavy objects and set up the game with ease. With each interaction, he could feel his charisma radiating, drawing others in as they chatted and laughed together. Children gathered around, their eyes wide with excitement as Wayne helped set up the prizes, smiling and making jokes that had them giggling. As the festival kicked into full swing, Wayne found himself in the center of a whirlwind of laughter and joy. People were drawn to him, eager to engage and join in the fun. Saria watched from a distance, her expression a mixture of pride and encouragement. "Wayne, you're a natural," she called out, her voice slicing through the festive chaos. He beamed back at her, the exhilaration of the moment filling him with energy. "This is amazing. I feel alive." As the afternoon wore on, Wayne and Saria took breaks, mingling with festival goers and sharing stories. Wayne realized he was not just using his powers for himself, but also inspiring others. He felt a sense of connection blossoming around him, a shared humanity that transcended differences. Then, just as they were about to help at another booth, a commotion erupted on the other side of the festival grounds. Wayne's instincts kicked in, and he turned to Saria, his expression serious. "What's going on over there?" Saria's brows furrowed as she looked in the direction of the noise. Let's check it out. As they approached, the crowd parted, revealing a tense scene unfolding. A group of rowdy individuals had surrounded a vendor, demanding money and causing chaos. The vendor looked frightened, his hands raised in defense as he tried to reason with them. Wayne's heart raced, a mixture of adrenaline and anger surging within him. "We have to help," he exclaimed, determination shining in his eyes. Saria nodded, her expression fierce. "Use your strength and your voice. We can't let this happen." Wayne stepped forward, feeling the energy of the contract course through him, fueling his resolve. "Hey, leave him alone," he shouted, projecting his voice to cut through the chaos. The rowdy group turned their attention to him, their expressions shifting from surprise to hostility. "Who are you to tell us what to do?" one of them sneered. "I'm someone who stands up for others," Wayne replied, his heart pounding with adrenaline. "You're causing a scene and scaring people. Just walk away." Saria stood beside him, radiating confidence. "You don't have to resort to violence. There's no need for this. Let the vendor go, and we can all enjoy the festival." The leader of the group stepped closer, trying to intimidate Wayne. "Or what? You think you can take us on?" Wayne felt the power within him swell, the combination of strength and charisma giving him courage. "You don't want to find out," he said, his voice steady. "I suggest you leave before things escalate." For a moment, there was silence, the air thick with tension. Wayne could feel the weight of the crowd's gaze upon him, and he sensed Saria's support bolstering his confidence. To his surprise, the leader hesitated, glancing at the faces surrounding them. "This isn't worth it," he muttered, finally stepping back. Wayne's heart raced as the group slowly retreated, the tension easing as the vendor sighed in relief. "Thank you," he said, his voice shaky yet grateful. "I don't know what I would have done without you." Wayne smiled, feeling a rush of pride and fulfillment. "You're safe now. That's what matters." As the crowd dispersed and the festival resumed, Wayne turned to Saria, who wore a proud smile. "You did it, Wayne. You stood up for someone and made a difference." "I never would have had the courage before," he admitted, the weight of the moment settling in. "But with you by my side and this power, it feels incredible." Saria placed a hand on his shoulder, her expression warm. "You've embraced your potential. This is just the beginning. You have the ability to change lives, to inspire others." Wayne nodded, a newfound determination settling within him. He realized that the contract was more than just a source of power. It was a call to action, a responsibility to use his abilities for good. As they rejoined the festivities, Wayne felt a shift within himself. He was no longer just an ordinary man. He was becoming something more, fueled by the desire to make a difference. The festival continued around them, vibrant and full of life, but Wayne knew that his journey had only just begun. He was ready to explore the depths of his potential, to embrace the adventure ahead, and to use his powers to create a brighter future for himself and those around him. And with Saria by his side, he felt he could face anything that came his way. Together, they would venture into the unknown, guided by the light of the contract they had forged, a bond that would empower them to reshape the world around them. The possibilities were limitless, and Wayne was eager to see where this journey would lead. Shadows of power. As the vibrant festival faded into the backdrop of a star-studded night, Wayne felt an exhilarating sense of purpose swell within him. The day had been a whirlwind of laughter, challenges, and connections. With each encounter, he was not just testing his newfound powers, he was redefining who he was and who he could become. Yet, as the excitement lingered in the air, an unsettling thought gnawed at the edges of his mind. What came next? Saria, sensing the shift in his mood, turned to him with an understanding gaze. "You're deep in thought, Wayne. What's on your mind?" He sighed, looking out at the twinkling lights that adorned the festival grounds. "I feel like I've taken a huge step today, but I can't shake this feeling of uncertainty. I've experienced power, but with it comes a responsibility I'm not sure I fully understand." Saria nodded, her expression serious. That's a common concern when one gains such abilities. The power you wield can be a double-edged sword. It's important to stay grounded and remember why you wanted this in the first place. Which was? Wayne asked, curious to hear her perspective. To help others, she replied, her voice firm. But you must also recognize the darker paths that power can lead you down. The choices you make from here on will shape your character. Wayne's mind raced back to the earlier incident with the rowdy group at the festival. He had felt the intoxicating rush of standing up for someone, of using his strength to make a difference. Yet, there had been a fleeting moment of darkness when he could have taken things further, when anger could have fueled a more aggressive reaction. What if I slip? He admitted, the vulnerability in his voice raw. What if I use this power for selfish reasons? Saria stepped closer, her blue eyes locking onto his. That's the crux of it, Wayne. The power you've gained can amplify your true self, both the light and the shadows. The key is to be aware of those shadows and to actively choose the light. Choosing the light, Wayne repeated, the phrase resonating deeply within him. He understood that his journey would not just be about discovering his powers, but also about navigating the moral complexities that came with them. So, what do I do? Let's put you through some scenarios, Saria suggested, her demeanor shifting back to her playful self. Consider it a training exercise to help you understand the nuances of your abilities. Wayne raised an eyebrow, intrigued yet apprehensive. Like role-playing. Exactly. I'll present you with different situations, and you'll need to decide how to respond. Let's see how you handle them, she said, a spark of excitement in her eyes. All right, I'm game, Wayne replied, feeling a mix of anticipation and anxiety. He was eager to test his limits, but unsure of what lay ahead. Saria clapped her hands, her expression brightening. Great. Let's start simple. Imagine you're walking in a park and see someone being bullied. What do you do? Wayne thought for a moment, envisioning the scene. I would step in and confront the bullies. I wouldn't want anyone to feel helpless. Good instinct, Saria encouraged. But what if the bullies are bigger than you? What's your backup plan? He considered her question. I could use my charm to talk them down. Maybe appeal to their better nature. Excellent. But what if they refuse to listen? She pressed, her tone more serious. In that case, I'd have to rely on my strength, Wayne said, feeling the adrenaline coursing through him at the thought. But I'd want to avoid violence if possible. Saria smiled, clearly impressed. You're getting the hang of it. Now, let's step it up. Imagine you're in a situation where you overhear a conversation about a planned robbery at a local store. What do you do? Wayne's heart raced at the scenario. I would report it to the authorities immediately. I wouldn't want anyone to get hurt. But what if you overhear it and know that the robbery is set to happen tonight? Saria challenged. Would you take matters into your own hands? He paused, the gravity of the situation weighing on him. If I knew it was happening soon, I'd have to act. But I'd want to gather evidence first, maybe confront the thieves or warn the store owner. I wouldn't want to put myself in unnecessary danger. Exactly, Saria explained, her excitement infectious. But what if things escalate? What if they pull a weapon? Wayne felt a chill run down his spine at the thought. Then I'd have to use my strength to protect myself and others, but I'd want to avoid confrontation if I could. Wise choice, she said, her tone approving. Now, let's switch gears. Imagine you're offered a deal to gain even more power, but it requires sacrificing something important to you, your values, your relationships. Would you take it? Wayne's heart sank at the question, the moral weight heavy on his chest. No, he said firmly, I wouldn't. The power isn't worth losing myself. My relationships are what matter most. Saria nodded, a smile of pride crossing her lips. You're understanding the essence of what it means to wield power. It's about balance and making choices that align with your true self. Thank you, Saria, Wayne said, gratitude flooding through him. These exercises are helping me clarify what I stand for. Good. Now, let's put this all into practice. We'll head into the city tomorrow. I'll introduce you to some community leaders and activists who could use your help. They're working on a project to improve the lives of people in need, and they could benefit from your skills, Saria said. Wayne felt a surge of excitement at the thought of making a tangible difference. I'd love to. This is exactly what I want to do. Great. But remember, while you're helping, keep an eye on your shadows. The challenges you face won't just be physical. They'll also test your morals and convictions, Saria reminded him, her expression serious. I will, Wayne promised, determination shining in his eyes. I want to use this power wisely. The following day, Wayne and Saria set out for the city, a sense of purpose propelling them forward. The vibrant streets buzzed with life, filled with the sounds of laughter, music, and the hustle of everyday life. But beneath the surface, Wayne sensed the struggles that lay hidden, the challenges faced by those less fortunate. Saria led him to a community center bustling with activity. This is where the magic happens, she said, gesturing to the people milling about, organizing donations and planning events. These individuals are dedicated to making a difference. As they entered, Wayne was greeted by a diverse group of people, each passionate about their mission. They were working to provide food, shelter, and support to those in need, striving to create a more equitable community. Saria introduced Wayne to the leaders, each one welcoming him with open arms. Wayne, this is Maria, the head of the center, Saria said, gesturing to a woman with a warm smile and fiery determination. She's been a driving force in this community. Nice to meet you, Wayne, Maria exclaimed, shaking his hand. Saria has told me a lot about you. We could use someone with your skills on our team. I'm excited to help, Wayne replied, feeling a rush of enthusiasm. What can I do? Maria explained their current project, a drive to raise funds for a new shelter for homeless families. They needed volunteers for outreach, organizing events, and even spreading the word on social media. I can help with that, Wayne said, a spark igniting within him. I have experience in social media marketing, and I'd love to help promote the cause. Perfect, Maria replied, her eyes lighting up. We need fresh ideas, and your energy is just what we need to rally support. As they dove into planning, Wayne felt invigorated, his passion for the cause growing stronger. He brainstormed ideas, working alongside Saria and the other volunteers to craft engaging content for social media. With each post, he felt a sense of purpose, a connection to the community that fueled his determination. Wayne, you have a natural talent for this, Saria praised as they reviewed the content. Your charisma shines through in your writing. Thanks. I just want to make sure our message reaches as many people as possible, he replied, feeling a sense of pride in his contributions. As the day unfolded, Wayne found himself in various roles, talking to community members, sharing stories of resilience, and advocating for the project. He even met individuals who had benefited from the shelter's services, their gratitude and determination inspiring him further. But as the sun began to set, painting the sky with hues of pink and gold, Wayne's thoughts drifted back to the darker side of power. He couldn't shake the feeling that challenges were lurking just beyond the horizon, waiting to test him. After a long day of hard work, Saria pulled him aside, her expression serious. You've done well today, Wayne. But remember, there are people out there who will test your resolve. Not everyone will agree with the work we're doing. What do you mean? He asked, feeling a knot of anxiety form in his stomach. There are individuals who thrive on chaos, who might see our efforts as a threat. They could resort to intimidation or worse to disrupt our progress, Saria warned. Wayne's heart raced at the thought. You mean there could be people who would want to hurt us? Potentially, she replied, her tone steady. But you must stay vigilant. If it comes to it, use your strength to protect yourself and others. But remember that the best outcome is always non-violent resolution. I understand, Wayne said, determination hardening in his chest. I'll be ready. As they prepared to leave, Wayne felt the weight of his choices pressing upon him. He had embarked on this journey to help others, to wield his power for good, but he knew that the path ahead would be fraught with challenges. Together, we can face whatever comes our way, Saria reassured him, her presence a calming force. You're not alone in this. Wayne nodded, grateful for her support. Thank you, Saria. I'm ready for whatever challenges lie ahead. With renewed determination, they left the community center, stepping into the night. The stars shone brightly above them, a reminder that even in the darkest times, there was always light to guide the way. Wayne felt a sense of purpose swelling within him as he prepared to confront the shadows that threatened to rise. He was ready to embrace the journey ahead, armed with newfound power, unwavering resolve, and the knowledge that he could choose the light, no matter the challenges that lay ahead. Together with Saria, he would navigate the complexities of power and responsibility, forging a path toward a better future for himself and those around him. The adventure was just beginning, and Wayne was determined to see it through. The gathering storm. The following weeks became a blur of activity and purpose for Wayne and Saria as they immersed themselves in their community project. Their efforts to establish a new shelter for homeless families gained momentum, and the excitement was palpable. The festival that had ignited Wayne's journey now felt like the spark that lit a fire within him. Each day brought new challenges, but it also brought new allies, hope, and a growing sense of belonging. One evening, as they wrapped up a particularly long day at the community center, Wayne and Saria sat together in a quiet corner, the hum of voices around them providing a comforting backdrop. You've really made an impact here, Wayne, Saria said, her voice warm with admiration. The way you connect with people is inspiring. Thanks, Saria, he replied, a shy smile creeping onto his face. I've learned a lot from you. I never realized how powerful community could be. Saria leaned closer, her eyes shining with excitement. Imagine if we could expand our reach even further. There are neighboring communities that could benefit from our work. We could organize a regional event to raise awareness and support. Wayne's heart raced at the idea. That sounds amazing, but it's a big undertaking. Do you think we can pull it off? Absolutely. With your skills and the connections we've made, we can turn this into something extraordinary, she encouraged. We'll need to gather volunteers, secure a location, and plan activities that will attract people. Okay, let's do it, Wayne replied, the adrenaline of possibility surging through him. I'll start reaching out to our contacts to see who can help. As they dove into planning the event, Wayne felt a renewed sense of purpose. They spent hours brainstorming ideas for activities, workshops, and entertainment. The goal was to create a day of connection, education, and inspiration, a celebration of community spirit. But as the planning progressed, Wayne couldn't shake the feeling that something was brewing beneath the surface. The energy in the air felt charged, almost electric, and he sensed that the shadows Saria had warned him about were lurking, waiting for the right moment to emerge. One afternoon, while Wayne was busy coordinating with local businesses for sponsorships, he received a call from Maria at the community center. Wayne, we have a situation, she said, her tone urgent. There are rumors that a group is planning to disrupt our upcoming event. They think our shelter initiative is a threat to their interests. His stomach twisted at the news. What do you mean? Are they planning to cause trouble? Yes, they've been spreading misinformation about us and gathering support to protest the shelter. I'm worried they might take it further, Maria explained, concern evident in her voice. Wayne felt a surge of anger at the thought of anyone trying to undermine their hard work. We can't let them intimidate us. We need to address this head-on. Agreed, but we must be careful. I don't want to escalate the situation unnecessarily, Maria cautioned. Let's hold a meeting with our team to discuss how to approach this. Wayne nodded, determined to take action. I'll talk to Saria. Together, we'll figure out a plan. Later that evening, Wayne met with Saria, who was already aware of the situation. I've heard the whispers, too, she said, her expression serious. This is exactly what I warned you about. We need to prepare for whatever they have planned. What do we do? Wayne asked, feeling the weight of responsibility pressing on him. We can't allow fear to dictate our actions, Saria said firmly. We must remain united and focused on our mission. Let's gather our supporters, inform them of the situation, and prepare them for any disruptions. Wayne took a deep breath, feeling a mix of fear and resolve. You're right. We can't let them win. We'll rally our community and make sure everyone knows what we stand for. The next day, they held an emergency meeting at the community center. Wayne stood in front of a gathering of passionate supporters, his heart pounding in his chest. Thank you all for coming on such short notice. I know we're facing some challenges with the upcoming event, but I want to assure you that we will not back down. Our mission to support families in need is more important than ever. Murmurs of agreement spread through the crowd, their determination palpable. Wayne continued, We've heard rumors of a group planning to disrupt our event. They may try to intimidate us, but we will not let them succeed. Instead, we will show them the strength of our community. Saria stepped forward, her presence commanding attention. This is our moment to stand together. We have worked too hard to let anyone undermine our efforts. Let's focus on what we can do, reach out to our neighbors, spread the word, and show everyone the importance of our cause. As they brainstormed strategies to counter the potential disruptions, Wayne felt the energy in the room shift. This was what community meant, standing together in the face of adversity, united by a common purpose. After the meeting, Wayne approached Saria, a sense of urgency driving him. What if we host a pre-event rally? We could gather supporters and show that we won't be intimidated. Saria's eyes lit up with enthusiasm. That's a brilliant idea. It would help build momentum and raise awareness before the main event. We can invite local media to cover it as well. With renewed determination, they began organizing the rally. Wayne reached out to local businesses for support, and Saria coordinated with speakers who could share their stories and inspire others. The goal was to create a powerful display of unity that would resonate throughout the community. As the day of the rally approached, Wayne felt a mix of excitement and anxiety. He spent long hours preparing, ensuring that everything was in place. But as the sun set the night before the event, a sense of foreboding settled over him. He couldn't shake the feeling that something was off. The day of the rally dawned bright and clear, a perfect backdrop for their gathering. The community center buzzed with activity as volunteers set up booths, banners, and stages. Wayne looked around, feeling the energy of hope and determination coursing through the crowd. As he stepped up to the microphone, the cheers of supporters filled the air. Thank you all for being here today. We are here to stand up for our community, for those who need our support the most. He felt the adrenaline surge within him, his voice steady and strong. But just as he began to share the mission and vision for the shelter, a group of individuals stepped forward, clearly identifiable as the dissenters who had been spreading rumors. They held signs and shouted slogans, trying to drown out his words. Wayne's heart sank as he recognized the faces of those who opposed them. What do you want? He called out, trying to maintain his composure. One of the leaders of the dissenters, a man with a loud voice, shouted back, We don't need your shelter. We can take care of ourselves. You're ruining this community. The crowd shifted uneasily, but Wayne felt a surge of strength from his supporters. We're not here to take anything away from you. We're here to help those in need. There are families struggling, and we are fighting for them. The dissenters shouted back, trying to sow doubt among the crowd. Wayne felt a rush of anger, but remembered Saria's words about not letting fear dictate their actions. Instead of escalating the confrontation, he took a deep breath and addressed the crowd directly. Let's not engage in hostility. Instead, let's have an open dialogue. We can all have different views and still find common ground, he urged, his voice rising above the chaos. A few supporters stepped forward, echoing his sentiments. We're here to build a stronger community, not to tear it apart, one woman called out. As the rally continued, Wayne focused on sharing stories of families who had benefited from similar shelters, highlighting the importance of compassion and support. Slowly, he began to see the doubt in the dissenters' faces shift to confusion. Saria moved gracefully through the crowd, engaging with those who seemed swayed by Wayne's words, encouraging dialogue and understanding. The tension in the air began to dissipate, replaced by a shared sense of purpose. But just when it seemed the tide was turning, the dissenters ramped up their efforts. They began to shout louder, pushing into the crowd, trying to incite anger and fear. Wayne felt a knot of anxiety tighten in his stomach. This was not going the way he had hoped. "Stay calm," he shouted, trying to keep his voice steady. "We're here to promote peace and understanding." But the dissenters didn't back down. They became more aggressive, trying to drown out Wayne's voice, their shouts ringing in his ears. Wayne felt a surge of anger rise within him. This was his community, and he wouldn't let them destroy it. "Enough," he exclaimed, stepping forward with newfound resolve. "This isn't how we handle things. We're here to support one another, not tear each other down. If you have concerns, let's discuss them civilly." The crowd erupted in cheers, and Wayne felt the energy shift in his favor. He glanced at Saria, who nodded encouragingly, her eyes sparkling with pride. The dissenters faltered, the noise dying down as people began to engage in conversation, turning their attention back to the main message of the rally. Wayne seized the opportunity, sharing stories of resilience, hope, and the power of community support. As he spoke, the atmosphere transformed. People began to rally around their cause, and even some dissenters started to listen, their hostility melting away. Wayne's heart swelled with pride as he saw his vision come to life, a united community standing strong in the face of adversity. By the end of the rally, the air was filled with optimism and determination. Wayne and Saria had succeeded in rallying their supporters, turning the tide against those who sought to undermine their efforts. As they packed up for the day, Wayne felt a mixture of exhaustion and exhilaration. "We did it, Saria. I can't believe we turned that around," he said, a wide smile on his face. "You handled it beautifully," she replied, her expression one of admiration. "You showed true leadership and compassion, even when faced with hostility." Wayne felt a swell of gratitude for Saria's unwavering support. "I couldn't have done it without you. Your guidance has been invaluable." "Together, we make a great team," she said, her eyes sparkling with mischief. "Now, let's prepare for the main event. We're just getting started." As they looked toward the horizon, Wayne realized that their journey was only beginning. They had faced their first major challenge together, and he knew that many more would come. But with Saria by his side and the support of their community, he felt ready to tackle whatever lay ahead. As they moved forward, Wayne understood that the shadows of power were ever present, but he was determined to navigate them with integrity and purpose. Together, they would continue to build a brighter future for those in need, driven by compassion and the unwavering belief that change was possible. The storm had come and gone, leaving in its wake a stronger community and an even stronger resolve. Wayne felt a sense of peace settle over him as they prepared for the next chapter in their adventure, a journey of light and shadows, of choices that would shape their destinies and those of countless others. The road ahead was filled with challenges, but Wayne was ready to embrace it all, step by determined step.